We continue. A process may also have an abnormal loss or an abnormal gain. Now, an abnormal loss is a loss which you're not expecting. Vice versa, an abnormal gain is a gain which you're not expecting. It is important to understand how you're going to value the normal loss, the abnormal loss. Because the question will never give you the value of the abnormal loss or the value of the abnormal gain. So how do you value the abnormal gain, abnormal loss? You value the abnormal loss in the same way as the value of a good output. Remember that. Do not get stuck when you got an abnormal loss. They give you the value of the, because in the same question there could be a normal loss which has got a scrap value, but there's also an abnormal loss. So if you don't find the value of the abnormal loss, the value of the abnormal loss should be valued at the same cost per unit as the value of a good unit. Clear? And any losses or gains should be taken to the income statement in the particular period. We'll continue with the same example, but this time instead of a good output of 900, we still have an abnormal loss of 10%, meaning we should be expecting a good output of 900 units. But instead the good output is 880 units. Total units which have come in is 1,000, so we still expect total units outputs as 1,000. So when we add the 100 abnormal, 100 normal loss in the 880 good output, the difference is what? 20. So 20 becomes your abnormal loss. So you may also have to calculate the abnormal loss units. They'll just give you what came out, what came in, what came out. So if what came out is less than what came in, then and there's no normal loss, then you know it's what? It's an abnormal loss, which you're going to value as if it was a good output. So the formula doesn't change from the one with a normal loss with a scrap value. The formula remains the same when there is an abnormal loss. So the 120 units, dollar per unit that we got will still be the same 120 units that we're going to get. So both the good output, 880, will be valued at 120 to give us 105,600, and the normal loss 20 will be valued at 120 to give us a total of 240. Is it clear? We could open our scrap account in our abnormal loss account. Now, for those who have not done F3, in accounts there's what we call double entry. Double entry, there is a debit and a credit. The debit should be equal to the credit, and these they should be on opposite sides of the T account. So if we take an example of this scrap account, in the process account, the normal loss was on which side? Both the normal loss and the abnormal loss were on the credit side. So in the scrap account, they'll be on the debit side. Because the scrap is going to be sold, so the scrap account will be credited. What are we going to debit? Debit the cash account, because cash is coming in. And then the abnormal loss will be taken to where? Will be taken to the income statement. So to close the abnormal loss account, you're going to credit it and debit the income statement with 2,000, which will be a loss. We move to abnormal gain. The abnormal gain is when the output is more than the expected output. To continue with our example, we still have an abnormal loss. We still have a normal loss of 10%, which is 100, meaning we expect a good output of 900. Now let's assume that the good output is 920 instead. So it means there is 20 abnormal gain. The abnormal gain will be credited to the process account, because now you're in a situation where the total units of output is more than the total units of input. The formula again still remains the same. So you see they're about how many? 3 formulas so far, right? The other 3 are the same. So there aren't so many formulas to memorize. However, you need to know how to handle them given any given situation, whether it's an abnormal loss, an abnormal gain, whether the loss has got the normal loss has got scrap value, or the normal loss does not have a scrap value. Any question up to that point?